quiet here. In 5.
Welcome to MCTV Weekly News Update. I'm Emily Crescitelli.
And I'm Tim Croteau. We have a lot in store for you today, so let's jump right into our top stories. Attention Idol fans, after having America wait anxiously for the entire summer, Fox has finally announced who will be judging this season of American Idol. It is confirmed that rapper Nicki Minaj and country singer Keith Urban are the show's newest judges. Also confirmed are the salaries of the stars. Minaj is reported to be pulling in $8 million, and Urban will be pulling in $4 million. The two will judge alongside Grammy-winning singer Mariah Carey and record producer Randy Jackson. It has been reported that the show has been struggling with low ratings, and the Fox network hopes the new judges panel will help boost ratings. The 12th season of American Idol is scheduled to premiere this January. Good luck to the new judges and the future contestants.
I'm really excited for the new season of American Idol, personally.
I am too. I started watching it, way back when it first came out, and I really loved it. And there's been a ton of new judges since then, and I'm actually really curious to see how Nicki Minaj does.
I'll watch her just for her crazy outfits. To be perfectly honest, I think it could be a lot of fun. Yeah,
she definitely brings a new element to the table, so I look forward to it.
Well, a man in Pennsylvania this week may be envious of Minaj's multi-million-dollar contract with Fox after incurring a $4,600 parking ticket. It is becoming easier than the public may think to be faced with extremely high parking tickets. WHTM-TV recently reported that a Georgia truck driver, Amir Mikdadai, was given fines totaling over $4,600 after illegally parking in a Carlisle shopping center. Police reported that in addition to illegally parking, motor oil and antifreeze were leaked from the vehicle after Mikdadai reportedly hit a pole in the lot. Also, police found an outdated logbook, a false record of duty, and tire violations, which caused the truck to be technically out of service and required that it be towed. Believe it or not, it is not even the heaviest of parking fines issued across the globe. A fine should have been around $150 was issued to an Italian woman for $44,000 when Sicily cops wrongly accused the dated ticket with the year 208 instead of 2008. In Toronto, Canada, radiologist Dr. Anne-Marie Aronson received a $70,000 parking fine after losing a class action lawsuit and was forced to pay the city's legal bill. Can you imagine? That's insane.
Yeah, I got a parking ticket today, and I'll tell you, if that number was any bigger than the number that was on it, I probably would have been pretty mad. So I can only imagine how those people felt.
And I got my first one this summer, and it was terrifying. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, well, it's a good citizen pays his parking ticket, so the system works. All right, well, this isn't the only crazy story we have for you all tonight. This next one may actually make you reconsider how you feel about the movie Jaws. Curry Bot-Eye fisherman and father of 6, Tokay Titoy, credits a shark for saving his life after being lost at sea. Titoy and his brother-in-law set off on what was intended to be a 2-hour sea journey back to their home island of Mayana. They were attending a ceremony during which he was sworn in as a policeman before they shipped off. The two men fell asleep on the boat and drifted into the Central Pacific for 15 weeks before Titoy was rescued by a Marshall Island fishing vessel last week. Titoy was able to survive on fish and rainwater, however his brother-in-law was not so lucky and died of dehydration. Titoy claims that a 6.5-foot shark is, quote, the hero that led him to safety. The shark was apparently circling and bumping the boat in an attempt to guide him to the rescue boat. Titoy claims that he will never go by boat again. From now on, he'll be taking a plane.
That man may have been able to resist attack, but with the recent uprisings in Libya, he may be the only one. Authorities investigating the U.S. consulate killings in Libya have delayed their arrival to the region as violence continues on. Thousands of protesters across the world have taken to the streets, fueled by an anti-Islam film released by an American filmmaker. President Obama says those who killed U.S. Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans at the U.S. consulate will Benganese brought to justice. Christina Moller reports.
Anti-U.S. protests following the U.S. consulate killings in Libya have spread even further across the globe. In Australia, hundreds of protesters demonstrated outside of the American consulate in Sydney. In the Middle East, thousands of Muslims have taken to the streets. FBI officials investigating the killings in Benghazi have put off their visit until the volatile region is safer.
The members of the Security Council condemned in the strongest terms the series of violent attacks against embassies and consular premises of member states in multiple locations.
Protesters are raging over an anti-Islam film this American filmmaker has put out. Nakula Basli Nakula has been interviewed by authorities. In his weekly address, President Obama promised justice for those who killed U.S. Ambassador to Libya Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans at the consulate.
There is never any justification for violence. There is no religion that condones the targeting of innocent men and women. There's no excuse for attacks on our embassies and consulates. And so long as I am Commander-in-Chief, the United States will never tolerate efforts to harm our fellow Americans.
Some say Tuesday's attack was planned.
It was a deliberate and pre-planned attack. I was given enough details about this by witnesses.
U.S. officials say they have no evidence that the attack was premeditated, but as calm appeared to be restored in downtown Cairo Saturday, the scene of the first protest gives hope that other demonstrations will follow suit. I'm Christina Muchler reporting.
This region of the Middle East is not the only one feeling the impact of the video. Riots and other attacks have sprung up in other places as well. Following many of the recent attacks on the U.S. and NATO forces in the Middle East, 2 suicide bombers attacked Kabul and Kunar in Afghanistan on Tuesday. 13 people died and 15 were wounded, including 3 NATO soldiers. The attacks appeared to have possibly been targeted at Westerners associated with the United States or NATO powers, as some of the victims were, quote, ethnic Caucasians from South Africa. The Taliban has taken full responsibility for both attacks, claiming that they are enacting revenge on the anti-Islam video that was discovered on YouTube earlier this week. As the Taliban become increasingly more upset at the release of the video, they have also become more deceptive. In the raid at Camp Bastan last Friday, insurgents wore U.S. Army uniforms to avoid detection, and one of the suicide bombers on Tuesday was a female car bomber. This act is pretty much unheard of since women are typically not allowed to drive in Afghanistan. Attacks of this kind lead experts to believe that the Taliban may possibly have an insider in the U.S. Army.
What do you think about all this?
I mean, in my opinion, I think that, we in the media have a responsibility, for the stuff that we put out. We need to, take into account, how other people feel about it. And, free speech is important and everything, but I think respect is also pretty important.
Well, more disruption in the Middle East this coming week as a result of a different American. President candidate Mitt Romney has been quoted saying some controversial things about the Palestinian and Israeli government and the fight for independence. Mitt Romney admits his quotes were, quote, not elegantly stated. The Obama campaign says they show Romney's disgust and disdain for almost half of the nation. Today, another video emerged, this time including comments he made about the Middle East. Palestinians have described these comments as dangerous and infuriating. CNN's Sarah Cinder reports from Jerusalem.
Palestinians who have heard Romney's comments see them as another slap in the face by the U.S. Republican presidential candidate. Hanan Ashrari, an executive committee member of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, has this to say about Romney's leaked comments. She told CNN, quote, "It is about time that he stops pandering to the Israeli lobby and funders by selling out Palestinian rights and by destroying the chances of peace in the region. Such comments are dangerous," she went on to say, "and could be irreparable damage to American credibility and standings, not just in the Middle East, but throughout the world." What is also interesting here is you are seeing what appears to be a kind of flip-flop by Mr. Romney on whether or not he really believes in a two-state solution. In his comments in that fundraiser in Florida in May, he said in part that he looked at the Palestinians not wanting peace for political purposes and accused them of being committed to the destruction of Israel. He said, quote, "There's just no way." Now, Palestinians have only demanded their own state, not the destruction of Israel, and they find Romney's comments uneducated and infuriating. But when Mitt Romney visited Jerusalem in July, he said nothing of the sort, telling our Wolf Blitzer he believed in a two-state solution.
The decision, however, as we move to a two-state solution as to what would be part of Israel and what would be part of a Palestinian state is something to be negotiated by the Palestinians and the Israelis. I believe that the key to that negotiation is the recognition that there will be a Palestinian state and there will be a Jewish state.
While that toes the line of the international community, Palestinians were incensed by two other comments Romney made when he visited Jerusalem in July. One, when he stated that Jerusalem was the capital of Israel. Palestinians have fiercely held on to the belief that East Jerusalem is occupied and should be their capital in a two-state solution. And lastly, when at a fundraiser here in Israel, Romney suggested that cultural differences explain why the Israelis are so much more economically successful than Palestinians. He was blasted by Palestinians for not recognizing the effects the occupation has had on their economic opportunities. That being said, Mitt Romney remains highly popular with the Israeli population. Sarah Seidner, CNN, Jerusalem.
This is not the only political scandal in the news this week. Germany's former First Lady Bettina Wolf is suing Google over claims that she used to be a prostitute. Because of its autocomplete search function, if you were to type her name into the search bar, the autocomplete will fill in prostitute or escort. Wolf was always shown in the media and press as a glamour girl, and so when her and her husband moved into the presidential palace, the rumor sprang into the press. Since then, she has been actively fighting it by suing Google, saying that they should play more of a role as an online referee, and by refuting the statement in her recently published memoir. Google has responded to her claim, saying it was not their fault and that the autocomplete fills in after her name. It is simply a result of what other users have typed before her and the most popular search items related to the current search. Spokesman for Google, Kay Oberbeck, suggested that it was the curiosity of the many and not the assessment of the company that was causing the offending terms to pop up.
I don't know. I think this is kind of weird that that pops up after her name, though. I'd be pretty offended if that were me.
Yeah, I mean, the way it works is that Google has algorithms that look at, what recent searches have been all over the globe, and it tries to help users, by kind of filling it in. So it's really not Apple's fault. It's really the formula's fault, or maybe it's the people's fault that searched that. So.
Well, on a lighter note, Friday begins pre-sales for Apple's iPhone 5, and so many smartphone users have the same question in their minds right now: to upgrade or not to upgrade? Karen K. Fung takes a look in this week's Clicked In.
iPhone 5.
That time between an Apple iPhone launch and the day the gadget hits stores can be stressful, pondering whether the new device is worth the time spent braving the crowds or the amount of cash to jump from one carrier to another. Such is the debate in the minds of many smartphone users right now, one that could stretch until the iPhone 5 arrives in stores September 21st. Why so much ado about Apple?
They really did invent that entire experience that we take for granted today. Just the fluidity of being able to touch your contacts and scroll through a list of music or have a full web browser on your phone. Those were things that no manufacturer in the world was doing before Apple.
And those are things Apple has done on every version of the iPhone, so tech experts say some consumers may not miss too much by skipping the iPhone 5.
If you have an iPhone 4S, this may not be a necessary upgrade for you because when the software comes out, you'll get a lot of the enhancements that the new phone will have in the software, which is free. But if you have anything older than an iPhone 4S, I absolutely think this is a worthy purchase.
And remember, the 4S went on sale just last October, so an iPhone 6 can't be that far off. Those who do make the leap this fall should look carefully at the plans being offered by the carriers. Data plans have been changing. I'm Karen Kepa, and you're now Clicked In.
So what do you think? Are you going to get the new iPhone 5?
If I can get my hands on it, I heard actually that everybody that pre-ordered an Apple iPhone 5 is waiting 2 weeks.
2 weeks from tomorrow?
Yeah, they have everything like so backed up. There were so many orders and they just couldn't fulfill them. And I don't know, I guess people are pretty angry about that. So.
Shoot.
Well, another thing making people happy is the recent news about Disney World. Is the Magic Kingdom just not magical enough for you? Then you might like this news. Walt Disney World's park, Magic Kingdom, is about to begin serving alcohol for the first time. In a recent blog post, Disney officials said beer and wine will be on the menu at Be Our Guests, a new French restaurant at the theme park. Disney says the wines and beers will, quote, complement the French-inspired cuisine. Alcohol is served at some other Disney parks, including Epcot Center, Animal Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios, but this is the first time for Disney World's Magic Kingdom since its opening in 1971. Disney is known as a place that aims to please kids, while now the adults can have some fun too. The new restaurant is set to open on November 19th.
I think this is awesome.
I love the idea of it. I'm pretty sure that other parks have alcohol, and at the hotels they do and everything. And I think it makes sense. I guess Magic Kingdom is really like the heart of Disney World, and maybe that's why they haven't done it before. So.
Let's go to Magic Kingdom.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Well, that just about wraps up for tonight. I'm Emily Crescitelli.
And I'm Tim Croteau. Have a great night.